Hey guys, it's Tombox here. Welcome to MST.TV. And this video, we're going to be talking about the ruling, the counters, and the demo of the Rhongo combo. How does that work? So Rhongo combo, of course, I'm referring to the 5-card material of the number 86 Heroic Champion Rhongomyniad. I think that's his name. I can't really pronounce it. So how does it work and what are all of its effects? So first of all, it cannot be destroyed by battle. With 3 materials, it is unaffected by all the card effects. 4 materials, your opponent cannot normal or special summon. 5 material, you get to nuke the board. Okay, so with all 5 materials, how does anything even work anymore? Basically, you win the game, right? The question at hand is Xyz Encore versus this card. Does it work against it? Does it resolve successfully? And the answer is yes. This card will resolve successfully, causing Rhongo to go back into the extra deck and then summoning a bunch of its materials from the graveyard onto the field with 1 level reduced. So how does that work exactly? How come you're affecting me with a card technically? Well, no, it is not, according to Konami. And let's go into the card text and we'll point out each of these things that are a bit of like a red flag for the person playing the Rhongo. So target 1 face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls that has Xyz material. Detach all Xyz materials from it, point number 1. And if you do, return it to the extra deck. Then if there is a monster card in the graveyard among those detached Xyz material, special summon as many of those materials as possible from the graveyard to your opponent's side of the field in face-up defense position. Point number 2. And their levels are reduced by 1 on the field. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. So the first point is, how is it affected? And the second point is, I suppose, can you even activate this card if you're under like a 4+ material Rhongo where you cannot normal or special summon? So those are the 2 points. And Konami actually has addressed Xyz Encore specifically to this ruling. So it states that for the detach all Xyz material part of this effect, so the resolution of this card's detach all Xyz materials from it is not treated as an effect that affects the monster. So it is more or less just a mechanic that is being applied onto that monster, causing its detaching. Yeah, that's right. It's not affecting the monster, you're just losing material. Say you're just holding a bunch of balloons, they just cut those balloons. So yeah, they would go free. I guess that's a crappy metaphor, but I guess that kind of paints the picture. So once you lose all the material, you follow conjunction rules, and once everything's gone, you return to the extra deck, and then you will special summon a bunch of dudes. And because of that, this sets precedent that detaching material from a monster does not affect the monster. So you're not affecting its stats, it's just losing material, which is a mechanic exclusive to Xyz. So in any other case, in the future, if another card ever detach Xyz material as a part of its resolution, note that it does not affect the monster and it will go through. It kind of supersedes a lot of things that we kind of know, but it is what it is. So that's part 1. So you will be able to detach and shuffle it back. So the second part is, can you even activate this card because it states special summon? And the answer to that is, yes, you can. Why? It's mainly because of how the special summon is worded. The special summon is not guaranteed. And XYZ materials, you have to look at it this way. They're not spells, they're not monsters, they're not traps. So when they're detached, there is a clause in there that checks if there are even monsters in there to begin with. So in other words, it needs to go through that check clause first. And if you're not accepting that particular ruling, even in OCG, there is a ruling that you can activate this particular card, Xyz Encore, while Vanity's Emptiness is on the field. So, in other words, to sum it up, first, detaching materials does not affect the monster. And once you lose all the effects anyways, you can just be shuffled back in and special summon. So, the second part is, of course, special summoning, not guaranteed to happen. So you can still activate it while you're locked under not being able to special summon. That's it. Okay, well then. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to die if the combo comes out, mainly because 2 material can either be destroyed by battle, 3 material unaffected by card effects. Remember, detaching is not considered affecting the monster. 3, you cannot summon, so kaiju options are out. And 4, even though you can use stuff that affects the player to take it out, evenly match is not going to work. So your best option is to use Xyz Encore. But what about when you go first? What should you do when you do go first, and how do you prevent them? Well, let's just look at the Xyz option. It's pretty simple. The first thing would be to use D barrier and call Xyz, and then they'll be just stuck with some pretty crappy monsters, not very good. Of course, you can use Artifact Sight to shut down the extract entirely. There's also hand traps that you can do, but in the hand trap part, you know what? I'm just going to point it out in the section during the combo so I can apply some context into it. So just stay tuned for that very soon. So what else can you use? Well, you can use the Floodgate. There can only be one because the entire deck usually is made up of warriors, and with just one warrior, they are completely locked out of being able to do anything. That's right. Once they are just stuck with one warrior, they can't go into the extra deck. Boral Sword's not going to come out, and Boral Sword is their other main win condition once you kill off the Rhongo. So let's look into hand trap options on when you should hand trap this particular deck. So I want to give a huge shout out to Georgie once again for providing me with this particular demo. And yeah, so we're going to watch him do the combo without Summon Sork various ways, and we'll talk about how to hand trap them. Kind of, I'll pause when we should hand trap, basically. So we got to start with the Armageddon Knight combo. Armageddon Knight with an extender. So there's 2 cards, so you have 3 cards left in hand. Of course, out of context, throwing in Destrudo, which eventually will turn to level 3. This is the point where you should probably Ash, and you want to stun this, or maybe even Impermanence. You want to stop this from happening because you don't want that extra monster. Normal summon has already occurred, so that's one point where you should probably throw a hand trap at. So if the monster comes out, then it keeps on going. Now, notice this. If it's Vion, at this point, you should immediately throw your Lancia into the graveyard. Prevent the banishing of cards, because if you can prevent the banishing, this combo doesn't really go too far once you take away, because if they have to link this away into nothing, and that means they'll be forced to use one of the extenders in their hand. You probably need at least 2 counters against it, or else it's not going to work. But yes, that is the point where you should probably throw a Lancia out, because that's one form of banish, and then the second banish will be coming in the form of Malicious, and there's one more banish which is coming from the Cloak. So Lancia does put in some work. So we're going to see this combo without Summon Sork. So we're going to see Underclock Taker using Malicious going into the Phantom Knight, Rusty Bardiche. There it is. Bardiche fetches up 2 cards. Note, Ash this guy as soon as possible, because he does throw a card into the graveyard, which makes him a target of Ash. And if you are able to Ash him, not only do you not get to put the card in the graveyard, you also don't get to set the monster, limiting the play down to this part here, where he still has a level 3 because the Destrudo is still in the graveyard. But if there is a Destrudo, you can throw the Ghost Bell to kind of prevent it from coming out, and basically kill your opponent at that point. So say you don't have either of those, say you have something else like an Ogre. So your best bet is, so there's the Destrudo, pay half your life. That puts Destrudo to level 3. Boots can special summon out because Bardiche is a Phantom Knight monster after all. And we're gonna keep on going. Just gonna keep on trucking until he kind of goes a little bit further. There's multiple opportunities for hand trapping. So notice, yeah, there's no traps in the graveyard. And okay, here we go. This is the Rhongo. So Bamboozling needs to be able to successfully resolve before you can kind of get into this position where you put 5 materials on it. So because of that, you can Ghost Ogre it. If you pop it, everything goes to grave. They have a Rhongo, they have a Bardiche, they have potentially 3 other cards in hand, but that is point 1. But remember, this whole combo did not require a Summon Sork at all, and this is also not sphere modable. There is 5 material, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's combo number 1. Okay, so Grepher with a Danger Jackalope kind of works the same way. You ditch it for Grepher's effect so that you can put in the Destrudo into the graveyard. You kind of hand trap in the exact same instances. Again, there's no real difference. This whole combo basically plays out the same, except that the final result is a 6 material Rhongo rather than just 5. Although like 6-5 doesn't make too much of a difference. See, through this, you get an extra body because of the danger monster. So Bamboozling can use more than 2 materials to make. And there you have it. The exact same combo once again. Hand Trap in the exact same instances. Bardiche is a huge problem card right now. It's such a powerful card, and it doesn't even open a single zone to your opponent. So this one is sold access with any danger card. Oh, I guess not any danger card, but say we're using Jackalope or Snake. So in terms of the access, we're going to use Instant Fusion in this case. So we're going to pay 1,000 life, and the common monster to use would be Ragin, because you can turn off, say, a Thunder Dragon Colossus. Isolde is the one card you should probably be negating. It does hurt if they're not able to bring out Vion, because it also leads down the play where they can't fetch out the Malicious. Again, same combo where they add into the Malicious and the Poly through banishing the Shadow Mist for Vion's effect and going to Dangerous. So Dangerous does eat up one of your extra deck slots. And you're going to go into Underclock Taker. And Underclock Taker is going to go away with the Malicious. So you can also Ash that Malicious if you really want to, but it's like, it's a hit or miss. It's not ideal. You'd rather stop Bardiche. Bardiche is just much more crucial because Bardiche is, again, 2 bodies in one. So yeah, that's a banish right there. Summon out, ditch that, give us a level 3, and now we have our 3s and our 4s. And the combo is once again successful. Now, this is the Gouki variant. Gouki variant is quite silly because it's also quite easy. This hand, again, it's a monster plus a Gouki search. That means a Gouki somewhere in there. The level 3 is going to come in the form of Twist Cobra, because Twist Cobra is level 3. And the other monster is going to be your level 4, which is, I believe, Suprex. We're going to summon out the Octostretch. We're going to ditch the search from Isolde as cost, so they can bring out the Headbat, and that would go into Summon Sork. Summon Sork is already a dark monster. Headbat will add the rematch, and we're going to use the effect to get out the Suprex from Summon Sork. Of course, at any moment, if you can just Ghost Ogre the Summon Sork, do it. Ash Isolde, Ogre the Summon Sork, because if you take away the Summon Sork, it basically resets the whole thing because the link materials are now into the grave, so it kind of counts as 3. Now we're going to see a link into the Underclock Taker, just mainly for Dark. And with 2 dark monsters, you can get the Bardiche. Bardiche will now set you up with 2, and the rematch will set you up with the other 2. You first gotta banish the cloak, of course. You can hit the rematch, and now you get yourself the Suprex and the Twist Cobra. This is the part where you would use Ghost Bell or DD Crow, and that's still happening. Now the armor's happening. Check the grave. Once again, no traps. That's one of the weaknesses of the deck, is that there is no trap, so if you break the board, you have free reign. So if you do use Xyz Encore and split up like 5 different monsters, if you're playing Dinosaur Thunder Dragons, make sure that you got that Ultimate Conductor Tyranno handy, because you can kill your opponent. Right there, it's like 5k worth of damage just from that one swing, and the rest of it is just icing on the cake. So that is one of the Gouki variants. So the Gouki variants are kind of the same. Now this is a Gouki variant with the Engage, which is very silly because it almost feels like they can fully recover even if you do break the board. So 1 for 1, put 1 Gouki in the grave and then use Instant Fusion to bring out the Ragin and potentially book something face down. Go ahead and link it to Isolde. Ash the Isolde if you can. by Ash, I mean Ash this effect. Just don't let them bring the extra monster on board. And in this case, he needed a Twist Cobra, so you can also fetch out a Twist Cobra instead. Ditch. Hold on. Just taking it back. He's going to perform a Summon Sork play first, then use Cobra to add the rematch. He's going to use Engage in this case to extend for the extra warrior, because the token is a warrior, and with all the equip spells thrown into the graveyard, you will have the ability to draw, so you don't have to shotgun the Engage. Okay, now we're going to see the token. Token's going to dig into the Ragged Gloves, so that's a level 3 for you right away. We're going to see the Sky Striker token turn into Kagari. Kagari's going to go back and Engage, and Engage can't exactly happen right now. We're going to see the Underclock Taker. Oh my god, once you go into the Bardiche, you're going to be able to activate that Engage once again. So instead of using the effect of Bardiche right away, you can add the Ego Booster to make sure that the Bardiche is now super safe from being affected by any form of other hand traps that if you've been holding off, this might not work out. If you see an Engage, you might have to be put in a position where you have to shotgun one of your hand traps just so that the board doesn't get established as well, and hope that your opponent doesn't have everything. But if they have Engage, you're more screwed than ever. You're going to want to Droll them. Droll is a really good card because they have a lot of searching in Gouki, and once you play the one Droll, it's a much safer turn. And don't forget, this is Gouki. They do have the Nightmare package in there that they can have access to and use that as another win condition. So continuing on with the Gouki rematch, you have the boots, Bamboozling, and now you get the armor. Armor now turns into Rhongo. And with that, that is the full effect. Now you're locked under, and on top of that, there's also a handful of back row that you're gonna have to deal with. That is all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys did not enjoy it and you didn't want to share the Rhongo combo with people, you can hit the other button if you really want to. And, well, if you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Huge shout out to Georgie once again for providing me with some footage. You know, mucho aprecioso. And just a quick announcement here is that during the holiday time, I am going to be going away for a bit, so there won't be as many videos during that time. I need a break. I'm losing hair. I have a bald spot coming. I feel very sad. Yu-Gi tubing will destroy your life. But anyways, I guess I'm going to proceed to the end phase now.